We're following the latest developments in Venezuela, where violent protests continue as a crucial vote to start rewriting the country's constitution looms. At least 100 people have died in the recent violence. Protests started after President Nicolas Maduro's government tried to restrict power of the opposition-controlled National Assembly. The nation has plunged into a humanitarian and economic crisis. The U.S. State Department has also issued a travel warning to Venezuela. Michael Reid is a columnist for The Economist. He's following the latest from London. Michael, thank you for joining us. Can you first give us some background on how and why this crisis in Venezuela has escalated to the deadly violence we're seeing today?
Well, it's been going on for 4 months now. It was triggered, as you said, by an attempt by the president, Nicolas Maduro, to essentially eliminate the powers of the parliament, which was elected in 2015 and has a large opposition majority. Now, the background to this is that Maduro, who is the successor to Hugo Chavez, has lost the support of the people because the economic situation in Venezuela is so bad, because the economy has been so badly mismanaged, and low oil prices have made the situation worse. So he only has the support of between 20 and 25% of the population, and he is trying by different stratagems to impose essentially a dictatorship of the minority.
Michael, President Trump is considering slapping Venezuela with broad sanctions, like banning American companies from working in Venezuela's oil industry. You write this would be a bad idea. Why is that?
Well, I'm afraid I think it would be, because I think it would hurt the Venezuelan people rather than the regime. I mean, they have been talking about possibly the U.S. stopping buying Venezuelan oil. Well, that would have an impact because the U.S. plays cash and Venezuela's other buyers on the whole do not. But Venezuela would find other buyers. And I think it would give the regime a very powerful argument to say, this is the fault of the United States. It's not our fault. And so I don't think the idea that it would lead to an uprising that would topple the government is really tenable. You just have to look at the failure of the American economic embargo in Cuba to effect political change there to see.
Then are there other diplomatic options for America when it comes to responding to this crisis?
Well, on Wednesday, the administration imposed targeted sanctions on 13 senior officials in Venezuela. And these are sanctions which withdraw American visas and ban them from having any business dealings with the United States. Now, that's obviously a sovereign decision of the United States. One wonders, however, why they didn't wait until Sunday before doing it, because there have been some reports this week that President Maduro was having doubts and he might postpone or call off the assembly. I think the other thing that's important is that the U.S. needs to work with Latin American governments and try and put as much pressure as possible on the regime. But one should have no illusions. I mean, this conflict is essentially going to be resolved by Venezuelans.
Michael, you mentioned Sunday. There's supposed to be a vote on Sunday whether to move forward with rewriting the Constitution and essentially collapse the opposition-controlled parliament. The U.S. has denounced this election. How can Venezuelans trust an election right now when Maduro's regime is so corrupt?
Well, they can't. I mean, the aim of this election is to create a constituent assembly to write a new constitution. That is something that Venezuela does not need. The current constitution was introduced by Hugo Chavez only in 1999. The clear aim of this new assembly is to eliminate the democratic institutions of the country. It's not being elected on the basis of proportional representation or directly elected. Its aim also is to quash growing numbers of dissidents within the ruling party who've come out against this assembly and who want to preserve the constitution and the rule of law in Venezuela. I mean, Venezuela is due to have a presidential election next year. The only way out of this is some kind of negotiation which restores the constitution and ensures that that election is free and fair.
All right. Michael Reid, a columnist for The Economist. Thank you.
Thank you very much.